You wake up. The room is still dark. Before your feet even touch the floor. Before you check to see if your jaw is clenched from grinding your teeth all night, your hand reaches blindly for the nightstand. You sync your wearable strap. You wait for the little circle on your screen to load. You are staring at a dashboard, asking an algorithm for permission to feel rested. The screen flashes an 82. Green. Optimal recovery. You feel a brief, pathetic little rush of dopamine. You did it. You slept correctly. You won the night. But underneath that green number, sitting heavy at the base of your skull, is a dull, radiating exhaustion that the algorithm doesn't track. This is what we do now. We treat our nervous systems like a corporate ledger. We think of our mental capacity in terms of strict accounting. We have convinced ourselves that if we just optimize the inputs, if we take the right magnesium stack, if we get exactly 20 minutes of zone 2 cardio, if we stare at the morning sun for optimal circadian alignment, end quote, we can balance the books. We think we can use the black ink of a morning routine to offset the heavy, crushing red ink of a 50-hour week spent managing the emotional fragility of our stakeholders. We are trying to outmath the reality that we are treated like server racks that never power down. This isn't self-care. It is the gamification of our own exhaustion. We didn't kill hustle culture, we just gave it a rebrand. Think about how you spend your weekends. Think about the sheer logistical weight of your self-care Sunday. It is scheduled with the exact same ruthless, metric-driven intensity as a Q3 product launch. Wake up, hydrate with electrolytes, hit the infrared sauna, meditate for exactly 15 minutes using an app that tracks your daily streaks. Ice bath, foam roll, forced journaling. You aren't resting, you are project managing your recovery. You are executing a highly structured set of deliverables for the most demanding, unforgiving boss you've ever had, yourself. It's an agonizing, invisible trap. We are so terrified of the void, of just sitting still and letting the immense, accumulated weight of our burnout actually hit us, that we turned healing into a competitive sport. We want to optimize our downtime so we can be a sharper, more efficient tool for the machine on Monday. We want to crush relaxation. Hustle culture didn't die. It just put on a eucalyptus-scented mask and started selling us sleep trackers to ensure we never actually stop producing. It is a vocabulary of survival that has completely infected how we talk about our own humanity. It's exhausting just to look at, and I want to see the exact shape of it. Go down into the comments and drop the most absurd wellness metric, biohack, or corporate buzzword you've caught yourself obsessing over just to survive the week. Let's build a glossary of exhaustion down there, because we have to name the mechanics of this trap before we can understand exactly why it's breaking us. Hold a piece of heavy, official stationery up to the light. If you look closely, right beneath the surface of the fiber, you'll see the watermark. It is a faint, invisible stamp of ownership, baked directly into the material before it ever reached your desk. It doesn't matter what you write on that paper. It could be a grocery list, a diary entry, a resignation letter. The watermark is always there, quietly dictating who the page really belongs to. That is exactly what happened to our free time. A few years ago, we hit a collective breaking point. We started talking openly about burnout. We demanded boundaries. We wanted our weekends back. And for a brief, incredibly naive second, it felt like a revolution. But the modern corporate machine is resilient, and it is deeply, brilliantly cynical. It didn't fight the anti-hustle movement. It just swallowed it whole. It repackaged our exhaustion, slapped a sleek, minimalist font on it, and sold it back to us as a subscription service. The system realized a fundamental truth of modern labor. You cannot run a human being on 80-hour sprints indefinitely without the hardware eventually failing. People were breaking. They were quietly quitting or loudly collapsing. But instead of reducing the load or fundamentally changing the environment, the machine decided to simply optimize the maintenance routine. Enter the commodification of recovery. Look at the endless monthly stacks. The $70 bags of green powder that taste like pond water but promise maximum cellular efficiency. The specialized blue light blocking glasses. The weighted blankets. The cold plunges. The corporate wellness seminars on mindfulness. Seminars paid for by the exact same executives who expect a response to a Slack message at 10 p.m. on a Friday. We are spending our own money to aggressively manage the symptoms of a diseased work culture, so the machine never has to actually cure the disease itself. The heavy, dull ache in your chest on a Sunday evening isn't just the anticipation of the work week. It is the exhaustion of the second shift, the labor of repairing yourself just enough to survive Monday morning. You fund your own rehabilitation. You treat your kitchen like a biochemical laboratory, measuring out adaptogens and scheduling your digital detoxes, all driven by the low-grade, persistent terror of falling behind. We stopped treating rest as a fundamental human right. Instead, it became a biological optimization strategy, a mandatory prerequisite for performance. The watermark bleeds through the paper. When you take a weekend offline to recharge, the unspoken end of that sentence is always, "So I can be more productive when I log back on." Your leisure time is no longer yours. It has been completely instrumentalized. It is just another phase of the production cycle. You are no longer a person taking a walk in the woods. You are an asset undergoing scheduled maintenance. And the truly agonizing part is how eagerly we bought into it. We embraced the tracking and the metrics because it gave us a false, desperate sense of control. If we can just biohack our way into perfect, unshakable resilience, we never have to face the terrifying reality that the machine we are feeding will never, ever be satisfied with what we produce. Picture a heavy, gray steel filing cabinet, the kind that sits in the corner of a windowless HR department. This is what we have tried to do to our own biology. We take the wet, messy, profoundly organic reality of being a human being, the deep, unnameable exhaustion, the grief, the desperate need for stillness, and we try to jam it all into sterile, neatly labeled manila folders. We create a folder for sleep hygiene, a folder for hydration, a folder for mindfulness. We think that if we can just categorize and alphabetize our physical collapse, we can manage it. We think the filing cabinet will save us. But your neurology does not run on corporate logic, and your brain knows exactly what you are doing. In economics, there is a principle called Goodhart's law. It states that when a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. If you judge a factory manager strictly by the sheer number of nails produced, they will eventually just manufacture thousands of tiny, completely useless nails. The metric is achieved, but the actual value is destroyed. We have done the exact same thing to our own nervous systems. We took the subjective, unquantifiable experience of human rest, and we turned it into a target. We gave it a score. This is where the brain's betrayal happens. You can sit on a $200 ergonomic meditation cushion. You can burn the Palo Santo. You can put on the binaural beats. But if your underlying motivation for sitting there is to deliberately force your cortisol levels down so you have enough bandwidth to finish a slide deck by 9 p.m., your brain knows you are lying. It knows this isn't a sanctuary. It is a strategy. When you attach a goal to your recovery, you keep yourself locked in the sympathetic nervous system. That is your fight-or-flight state. It is the neurological gear designed for hunting, for escaping danger, and for hyper-focused, goal-oriented tasks. Your body cannot tell the difference between the stress of fleeing a predator and the manufactured stress of trying to achieve a perfect REM sleep cycle. A target is a target. The threat of failure keeps the sympathetic nervous system engaged, quietly dripping stress hormones into your bloodstream while you are supposedly relaxing. True, restorative rest requires a completely different neurological pathway. It requires the activation of the default mode network. The default mode network only powers up when the brain is essentially idling. It activates during aimless daydreaming, during unguided, wandering thought, and in the complete absence of a task. It is the only state where deep psychological processing and actual neurological repair take place. But the default mode network is incredibly fragile. The second you introduce a goal, even if that goal is "I need to relax right now," the network shuts down. The sympathetic nervous system violently yanks the steering wheel back. This is why you can do everything right. The ice baths, the journaling, the perfect macronutrient ratios, and still wake up with a low-grade, humming static behind your eyes. Your biohacking is entirely instrumentalized. You are demanding that your brain shut down, while simultaneously holding a stopwatch to its head. You haven't escaped the machine. You have just internalized the manager, and that internal manager is driving you toward a very specific, inevitable kind of collapse. Take a single sheet of paper, fold it in half, press your thumbnail hard down the edge to make the crease sharp. Now fold it again and again. The tighter you try to make the shape, the harder you press down on those exact same lines, the more rigid the structure feels. But look closely at the point of intersection. The fibers are degrading. The material is breaking down under the pressure of the fold. If you keep forcing it, if you keep trying to optimize that shape, it doesn't become stronger, it just tears. This is the origami trap. This is what happens when you apply the brutal optimizing logic of the modern workplace to the fragile architecture of your own nervous system. Imagine the sheer, exhausting weight of it. You wake up, you check your wrist. The screen is red, a 42% recovery score. Your heart rate variability is down. Your REM cycle was fragmented. Before you have even spoken a word to another human being, before your feet have touched the floor, you have already failed. You immediately feel that familiar hot spike of cortisol hit your bloodstream. You are anxious about not recovering well enough. You are stressed about your inability to de-stress. So what do? You double down. You try to bully your nervous system into submission. You sit on your meditation cushion and grit your teeth, furiously trying to clear your mind. You stare intensely at the wall, mentally screaming at your heart rate to drop. You treat mindfulness like a tense hostage negotiation with your own brain, but it's just more cognitive overload. You have taken the one space in your life meant for sanctuary and turned it into another high-stakes performance review. You are tracking your water intake, calculating your macros, monitoring your step counts, and timing your digital detoxes. You are carrying the immense mental load of your actual job, the endless meetings, the weight of a fabricated smile on Zoom calls, the slow, daily drain of your energy. And now you have added a secondary, equally heavy full-time job, the job of being a perfectly recovering human. This is the performance anxiety of rest. When you track your downtime with the same frantic scrutiny you use for client deliverables, you are maintaining a constant state of hypervigilance. Your brain cannot tell the difference between the stress of a looming quarterly deadline and the stress of failing your morning wellness routine. To your nervous system, a target is a target. A threat is a threat. Healing has just become another complex project sitting on your Jira board. You are project managing your soul, and the paradox is devastating. The harder you try to cure your burnout with these rigid, high-stakes wellness protocols, the faster you accelerate the collapse. You are burning out from the sheer effort required to prevent your burnout. You go to bed dreading the judgment of the algorithm strapped to your wrist. You force yourself through grueling self-care routines that leave you feeling hollowed out and disconnected. You are folding the paper tighter and tighter and tighter, completely baffled as to why it keeps falling apart in your hands. You keep asking the machine for the tools to fix the damage the machine caused. But the machine only knows one language. Its only solution for your exhaustion is to make you work harder at fixing yourself. Imagine a perfectly blank sheet of heavy paper. No college-ruled lines. No margins forcing you into a neat, acceptable structure. No checkboxes waiting to be ticked off. Just empty space. For a high achiever, that image isn't calming. It's terrifying, because a blank page demands absolutely nothing from you, and you have completely forgotten how to exist in a space that isn't measuring your output. But this is where the cure begins. You have to drop the paperweight. The only way to break the gamification of your exhaustion is to completely decouple your rest from its utility. True recovery, real biological and psychological healing, must be entirely, beautifully useless. If you are resting so you can be a more effective employee on Monday, you are still on the clock. If you are walking in the woods specifically to lower your cortisol for a client pitch, you are just working in a forest. Take the smartwatch off. Put it in a drawer. Stop asking a silicone strap for permission to feel tired. You don't need another $70 wellness protocol. You need radical, unoptimized rot. You need to lie on your living room rug and stare at a crack in the ceiling for 45 minutes without calling it somatic grounding. You need to sit on your porch and watch the cars go by without calling it mindfulness. You need to let your brain's default mode network actually engage by doing absolutely nothing of value. Be entirely unproductive. Let the time waste. Let it slip through your fingers without a single metric to show for it. This isn't about setting fire to your career. I am not telling you to dramatically quit your job, or send a toxic email to your manager, or blow up the life you've worked so hard to build. That is internet fantasy, and it usually ends up hurting you more than the machine. This is about strategic detachment. It is the quiet, invisible boundary setting that happens entirely inside your own head. You still do the job. You still deliver the work, but you stop letting the machine's logic dictate the architecture of your soul. You stop treating your physical body like corporate hardware that needs a software patch. You revoke the watermark. You realize that your peace does not need to yield a return on investment. You are allowed to just exist, heavily and quietly, without optimizing the experience. The machine will always want more from you. It will always offer you a new metric, a new ring, a new dashboard to measure your own decay. You have to be the one who finally decides to look at the ledger, see the red ink, and just close the book. If this struck a nerve, if you are exhausted by the endless optimizations and just want to look clearly at the reality of modern work without the toxic positivity, hit subscribe. Welcome to the Paper Cog. We don't do life hacks here. We just figure out how to survive the machine together. I'll see you in the next one.